Hey, there I am. All right. Hello, everybody. All right. Why does it say I got 0 people? 7 people. There we go. All right. I don't know where Moongod is. Hopefully, he'll be showing up any second now. He's usually never late. How are you guys doing? What's up, Jason? What's up, Captain? Jorge is here, or George? What's up, Greek? And Vitruvio Warrior. What's up, guys? I'm just waiting for Moongod to get here. I don't really. Let's see what's up, Blacksmith. So ETH has been moving quite a bit. I know that. So that means we might have some goodness. I don't know if he even knows we're doing an AMA today. My apologies, everyone. Oh, sweet. Thank you, Greek. I just noticed that. I didn't even think about it. What's up, Wise Choice Money? What's up, Neil? I am Nomad. What's up? Sky Dreams. Hello, hello. Moonwolf. How are you doing? I'm just messaging Moon God on Discord. Oh boy. Oh, he's typing. He's typing. Maybe I didn't confirm it with him. Nope. He's just getting his son a snack. What's up, Yanni? So one thing, Moon God, well, you guys don't want to hear that. You want to hear how much this thing made this week. So I'm going to spare you guys all that and add Moon God to the stage. What's up, Moon God?
I just, little things in life, always busy.
Well, I mean, if you rewatch the first 2.5 minutes of the stream, you'll see I had a lot of really good stuff to say. So
I believe it, man.
The time passed quickly. Trust me.
Nice.
Yeah. Lee Her, how you doing? TJ, good afternoon to you. So yeah, of course, gotta feed the kiddos.
You had to get the little guy some munchies really quick. He was like, I need a snack. And so downstairs, forgot what time it was, and was just kind of distracted by life stuff and things, and then looked at the messages because my phone was going off, and I was like, oh no, I know what time it is now. I gotta get over there.
Oliver is in full panic mode. No.
Yep.
Okay.
Running up the stairs, trying to get logged in real quick because it's like I didn't have anything prepared because it's an absolute savage when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, did anybody have any questions or anything that I may have missed or no?
No. Greek was very kind to get the background all set up for us right from the get-go. So
Flagadocious. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, people just want to hear the huge, that see if you have any news on the bot from Calais.
Of course I do. We don't have end of month stats yet because there's still 1 day left, but we'll release that a little bit later in the week, with the full finalized numbers. But we have updated the Discord bot. We have updated the charts. We are sitting at roughly just shy of about 20% for the month. It's like 19.7%, give or take just a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Again, we still got to see how tomorrow plays out. So it's very much so a case where, that could end up slightly better. I don't think it's going to go up like another 10% or something insane like that. But we could eke out a little bit more, like, we may get all the way up to like 20%. That would be like a absolutely wild day for the rest of today, tomorrow, because today's numbers aren't counted as part of it, and tomorrow's numbers already, obviously haven't been counted as part of that as well too. So we're at like 19.7
Wow.
roughly.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
That's
over the
awesome.
last few days, it's done just a little bit over 5%, about 5.3%, since the bot has, been turned back on after finishing that other trade, taking a little bit of time to kind of adjust some of the processes. And so, yeah, really, really rock solid return. So that's about
Yeah.
5.3% over about a 9-day period is what it ends up kind of being, uh,
That's awesome.
which is
That is,
crazy good,
yeah.
considering the fact we're looking at about 30 days each month, so to speak. If we were to continue to do that perpetually going forward, it'd be a little over about 15% each month. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to happen, but the volatility within the market, this is part of the reason why we were bringing up wanting to kind of take some time to adjust some things and see what we could do AI wise to allow us to kind of get in and out of trades better, because
Yeah.
we're looking at this volatility right now and we're saying, imagine if we had actually been trading that entire time, where we went from, I think it was like 2200 all the way up to, like, I think Ethereum broke like 3300 or something like that.
Yeah.
um it's getting up there. It's really going wild.
Yeah.
um and it's not just been a straight climb, it's been ups and downs as well too. So we totally would have been able to get in and out of trades without really any kind of issue. But this is kind of, it's one of those things where it's a live and learn process. We've made adjustments based on that as well too. We've
Yeah.
also adjusted the bot to have a higher proclivity for trading longs versus shorts as we're moving into a little bit more of a bull run. So we
Cool.
may see, like, out of 10 trades, we may see 6 longs versus 4 shorts instead of it being like 50-50 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Again,
Uh,
that's a really rough example. But the idea generally behind it is, even if we're in a long and, it's like 3,300 to 3,350 or something like that, and we take, $50 in profit or whatever it is, and then we go right into another long that's like 3,350 to 3,400, we're still just kind of keeping rolling through.
mm-hmm.
And there are a couple of those moments where it does open up a short and just kind of manages to pick up on the pullbacks and stuff like that. And that's part of some of the changes that we made and the adjustments within the bot as well too. So it
Yeah.
can kind of understand those pullback moments, kind of read the charts a little bit better, and the adjustments that we made. And we can really see that with the crazy volatility that we've had in the market, and the fact that it's done like 5.3%. So
Yeah.
very,
That's
very
amazing.
exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And I mean, the bull run, the volatility is just going to continue because the bull run is coming upon us hard and
Yeah.
fast, it seems. So we could see months like this quite a bit this year, I imagine.
I mean, that is always the hope and the dream. I don't want to guarantee anything. But
Yep.
it's definitely a case where, as long as there's those up and down volatility, we're going to be, at a really good spot and a really good position here. The
Yeah.
trouble that we really face is kind of like if it just goes one direction, but
Yeah.
for the most part, as long as we have I'm fine with up and to the right, as long as it pulls back a little bit as well too. Like, we could have 10% going up and then a 4% pullback or something like that. That's great for us. Um, so it's just little stuff like that where it's like, yeah, it can keep going up and to the right, but like those consolidation periods and where things kind of pull back a little bit, where it's like, I'll use Bitcoin as an example. That's kind of easier. Like if it goes up to what is it, like 57, 58 right now is almost what it was, and then if it trails back down to like 55, that allows us to really kind of, same basic premise on the Ethereum side, take a lot of advantage of, like, it goes up, we take profits, it comes back down, we're able to take more profits as well too, and just kind of allow us to play through the entire up and down spectrum as it continues to go up and to the right. So yeah, we're really excited for it. A lot of good things coming
Awesome.
in. I do have some exciting news though as well. Um, so the NFT bot is now trading over $100,000. So
Whoa,
huge milestone
sweet.
for us to hit. Absolutely fantastic considering the fact that roughly about 9 days ago is when we started trading the full amount. So even though we were able to take all of those profits earlier on, the NFT bot is currently sitting at roughly about 20%. I think it's like I said, it's about um I let me check it really quick here because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to lie to anybody because that would like make me feel egg on the face kind of situation here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, I think it should be roughly, yeah. So I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. So the ROI for the NFT bot is 19.7%. The ROI for Ray for last month is over 20%. It's like 20.6%. And that's just because it's been compounding longer.
Yeah,
Um,
over February, you mean?
yes, for February.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
So for February, the NFT bot did 19.7%. Ray did 20.6, which is insane.
Yeah,
And again, that month hasn't
that's
even finished out yet. So
yeah.
yeah, we're
That's
very, very
awesome.
happy with it.
That is awesome. You guys are kicking ass for real.
Yeah.
Uh,
So just a lot of really good positive things going on. A lot of, great returns. We're at 89.8% of the funds on the Prisma side of things. Um, so again, remember we had slightly more funds left in the uh in the Ray side of things than we actually had in LP. In LP, it was about 13,000, 13,000, right around there is what we had in the LP that was taken. We had about 15,000 in Ray. So it was a
yeah,
situation where slightly different there. So we effectively, as we brought up last time, have recovered all the funds. We're proceeding through with updating the code and getting that all started. But yeah, a lot of big months coming in is what we're kind of hoping for here. So
very cool. Very cool.
yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of pretty much it for the numbers. Just to again, in case anyone's joining us a little bit later for clear and concise numbers, um, we did 19.7% on the NFT, about 20.6% on Ray, and these numbers are also in Discord as well too, which is basically where I'm pulling them from. And yeah, very much so a situation where we're extremely happy with kind of these updates and these changes as time kind of goes on. So, yep,
Awesome.
should be a really
And
good month.
if you could repeat it for people that are just joining us and also for me because my connection went bad for about a minute. When
Yeah.
you were saying when you were talking about how you hope it's going to go up and to the right, you cut out for about a minute after that. You were saying something, and I think maybe you were
Oh,
talking about how it can profit when it's going up or
yeah.
down, but you hope that there's some downs.
Yeah, so we made a bit of an adjustment to the way that the bot is going to be opening up trades. So it's got more of a focus on opening up longs than it does shorts. And
Okay.
so what that basically kind of means is that as we're opening up these positions, it's fine for us to have a more up and to the right um, turnout from the market. We just obviously we still want it to have those consolidation points because every once in a while it's going to open up a short. And we want those consolidation points to be, a position where we can actually take some profits out on the short side as well too. But it's going to have a little bit more of a focus for opening up longs as we're moving
Yeah.
kind of more into the bull run. So we could
Yeah.
see a situation, and the example I used earlier is like with Bitcoin because that's just easier numbers that I have off the top of my head. Where Bitcoin is trading at like 57,000 and then it pulls back to like 54, 55,000. That gives us a chance for us to have a short there, pick up a little bit of profit, and then open up a long at that lower position and allow it to kind of trail its way back up the other direction as well. So, yep, definitely a
Right.
case where we can kind of have it move in that up and to the right position where it goes like 10% up, has about a 4 or 5% pullback, does 10% up from there, another 4 or 5% pullback kind of thing. And that's healthy for the market as well, too. You never want everything to just go up and to the right. You want those
Mhm.
consolidation points as well, too, to build support and everything as it moves
Yeah.
up. So,
Yeah.
yep,
And
lots of
did
big fun
you?
numbers.
What's that?
I was just saying, lots of big fun numbers that we get to talk about as we're moving into the bull run. It's
Seriously.
exciting.
Yeah, this is awesome. These 20 and 30% months. I mean, I'm okay with these. Just so you
Yeah.
know. In case you
Well,
guys were wondering like if it bothered me, it's like no, I'm cool with it. So
yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel that as well. I will say
mm,
that's not going to be every month. Again, there are probably going to be some, outlandish kind of months, but our average goal is what we're shooting for is about 7% a month.
right.
So that's really kind of what we're hoping to have as like a turnout here.
Hmm.
And that basically would allow us as a baseline. That's what we're kind of looking to do.
Right.
Now, if we have things go our direction and we end up doing a 15, 17, 19% month, that's even better. But it's still a case where we want most of these to kind of fall as a baseline in that 7 to 12% range.
Right. Right.
Um, just because it's not nearly as much, risk involved. But
Right.
still, when these bounce out outside that spectrum and do much, much more, that's even better for us across the board.
Yeah.
That means
It
history is
helps.
sooner.
Yeah, it helps us to stay on that timeline that we kind of gave everyone because like the
Yeah.
lowest timeline was like 10%. So, you
Yeah.
know, those
Right. And
20% months make up for like multiple 7% months. So,
exactly. Yeah. So like a 20% month can make up, I think, if memory serves, it's like 4 7% months or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's very much so a case where um even with all of that being said, the average of about that 7 to 12% puts us right at about 9.5% each month, which is about that 10% range.
Yeah,
And again, that's the baseline that we're kind of shooting for.
right.
We've seen without any crazy overhauls or anything like that in the last week alone, like I said, it did 5.3%, which it did that over about 9 days, which
Yeah.
means that if we were looking at this in terms of like how much would it need to do for the remaining 21 days of a month, assuming an average of like a 30-day month kind of thing,
Hmm.
uh, that would be a case where we'd be looking at it would need to do to hit that 7%, like 1.7% return, which it could
Yeah,
totally do. So if it ended
yeah.
up doing like another 4 or 5% on top of that, over the next 21 days, even though it's not doing as good in that shortened period of time,
Yeah.
that's still a 10% month right there.
Sure. Yep.
You know,
Yep. Yep.
it kind of
That's
just
it. We're taking that long term mindset. So yeah.
exactly. And the
Yep.
cool part about it as well too is like compounding is really starting to kind of show itself. Um,
Cool.
and this is kind of part of what we brought up where um and Callie kind of brought it up really quick, and I'm going to see if I can reference it really fast in kind
Mhm.
of our our private chats here.
Yep.
um so he basically said if we keep anything close to this rhythm, it'll be enough for the bot to earn roughly about 2% a month for the total ROI to increase about 20% each month. So what that effectively means is that if we continue to keep up this pace,
Mhm.
comparing it to where we're at right now, a 2% month will be a 20% month,
Wow.
which is insane.
When is that?
That would be next year, roughly around the same time. So if we continue this
Wow.
pace,
Yeah.
that effectively would translate into what would be like a 20% month right now. We'd only need to go up about 2%. Um,
Cool.
which is wild to even think that. So that is how compounding works and how important it is. And that's why we're saying like 7 to 12%. Like people are looking at us like, hey, you're crazy for saying that. We're wanting these 15-20% months kind of thing, but it's like compounding that much over that period of time is just astronomically beneficial. Like most people don't even consider that to be the case. The easiest way that I could say to bring it up is like you could literally go into a compounding calculator and just put in um like the math out for it to be roughly about 7%. Again, that's the low end that we're talking
Right.
about. 7% each month, but adjust that to a daily basis for compounding. So
Yeah.
it'll end up being, I think, like 0.12% or something like that a day,
Right.
roughly.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But that would end up being a situation where like that compounded every single day on $83,000. I think it'll come out to probably around like $300,000, $400,000, roughly.
Not
I can
bad.
do math on it really quick. If I
That's
can,
that's that's the thing that we try to drive home all the time. Even though we're not selling any more of these, but we just want people to stay excited about them because, like, we're taking something that would usually take 40 years and we're shrinking that down to like 5 or 6 years. Because,
yeah,
like, usually in traditional finance, I mean, I think they expect to double their money every 10 years because you're making like 10 or 11% a year. And so, we're after 40 years, you're doing pretty well, but we're shrinking that down to 5 or 6 years. So it's just crazy. That's what I always think about. Is like if you have your money in stocks, you're looking at like
right.
12% a year on the high end. We're doing that like practically monthly, you know, and compounding. So, it's just the speed of compounding that we're doing is astronomical. What's up, custom
Yeah,
games mode?
yeah, and that's 100% correct. I mean,
That
goodness
is something
gracious!
that
All right, this
Lucky
is
and
not wanting to
Yanni
load
are
for me. I'm going to pull
just
it up somewhere else real quick.
Lucky and Yanni are teaching me about this stuff. Slowly but surely, they're teaching me.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well too is that a lot of this really comes down to a lot of education and a lot of teaching people that this is not going to be like a next week kind of thing. People are
Mhm.
very very used to that in crypto, and the idea, and this is one of the things that I will just bring up that both teams were extremely nervous about in terms of like how do we broach the subject with people, um, because it's a situation where there was a lot of concern that people were going to look at this and be like, "You're absolutely insane to ask somebody to wait 2 years for anything." Like in crypto, that's like waiting 40 years, but that's the reason why we did it, is that it allows us, to take full advantage of the entire market of
Yeah,
crypto being so fast paced. And what I
yeah,
mean by that is like exactly like Oliver said, like we're looking to crunch down 7 to 10 years into like 16 months or 18 months or something like that. You know,
yeah,
um, as an example of such, we've basically almost done 100% in about a 7 to 8 month period here. So it's very much so a case where, um, when we're looking at this, 100% returns in that kind of period of time is absolutely insane, and that's really what's kind of going on. With the entirety of this project, is that we're allowing all of this to kind of be the baseline for like showing people that like, hey, this can actually really really grow. You just got to give it a chance. You got to let it do its own thing.
hmm
And effectively, the positive is once this really starts to grow and starts to kind of, compound the way that we're talking about, the returns are absolutely insane. So
yeah.
finally have my calculator working over here. By the way, the rate is about 7% a month. That's about 2.4% or 0.24% a day. Um,
Oh,
so
if anybody wants access to the compound calculator, I put the website for it in our links, in our official links in our Discord. If you,
yeah,
because I know so many people love playing with that thing, I do. So it's right there.
Yeah. So, what I will say is, let's assume that we do about a 7.2% every single month. Um, that would translate from 83,000 to about $478,000 is where we'd be at the end of the first 2 years.
Wow.
Um, So yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a case where, it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, life
And
changing across the board on the NFT side.
and
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 again,
that's with the 7% monthly. You just
yeah,
did that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, 7.2%, but I'm not
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
being too crazy about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to be
That is.
a little conservative here, just a tidbit. But even if we were to bump that up to like 10% a month or whatever it is, that's too much. That's 11%. So we'll do zero point 0.3, and that should be 10% if memory serves. I have all this written down somewhere else. That's 9.7%.
Yeah.
We'll just call that there. So let's assume, about 9.7% over that 2-year time frame.
Mhm.
We'd be looking at $741,000. And
Wow.
that's
That's a 10x practically.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's at 9.2%. So that's not even at 10%, which is
So
kind
that
of what we feel the average is going to be.
and so 50% of the profit on that would be
Yeah. So it's
what would
seven.
I'm trying to do the
So the
math.
way that it would work is when year two starts, that's when we start the baseline.
Mhm.
So in 1 year, starting from January 1, 2024, and going 1 year, the baseline for that would be 248,438 roughly. So just shy of about 250,000. That's if we do just under about 10% a month. Which again, that's the average. So it's very much so in that range that we're kind of looking at here. Um, which means that again, continuing that same about 10% average, we'd be looking at just shy of about $500,000 would be our first payout. And that would be broken up 50, 40, 5, 5. So about $250,000 in theory is what would be paid out. Um, so
So
over,
five
and
hundred
again, all
dollars.
this is speculative, just as a record, for the record. So let's see,
So so
250.
this is actually something I didn't think about. The
Yeah,
base the year two payout, which will be the first payout
correct.
at the end of year two, we will be calculating the profits from year one, like from
So
just
year
the end
one
of
is
year
fully
one.
compounded. At the
Yeah,
end of year one, that starts our baseline amount.
right.
And
Okay.
so year
So
two is our first payout year. So at the end of year two, that's when we do the 50, 45, 5.
right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it'd be
That,
about,
that makes sense. I never thought of it, but that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. So assuming roughly about, again, a 10% return, which is not what we're doing right now each month. We're doing slightly above that. Assuming about a 10% return each month, that would end up being about $500 per NFT is what we're looking at in total here.
As the very first payout at the end of year two.
As the
Yeah.
very first payout. Now,
Yeah.
again, 40% of that ends up going right back into um, the bot and is reinvested,
Yeah.
which is about $200,000.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's going to be a massive amount that still stays in there anyway. So we're going to be starting off going into year three at roughly right around about
Yeah.
$470,000, I think, something like that
Yeah. Yeah.
is give
So
or take
yeah.
what it'll be.
Yeah.
Um, and again, same thing. And that's with looking at about 9.2% a month. So it's like we're trying not to be too crazy here. If
Yeah.
we end up averaging closer to like that 12 to 15% a month during the bull run here, or even above that, like, I mean, we've seen some crazy months, like during these last few months, um, we saw a 39% month. I mean, that's insane. You know,
Yeah.
that mind you, now that does need to be broken in half because it was about a 2 month period that the bot was trading like that before we took our first thing of profit. But even splitting that at half at 39%, you're looking at 19.5% each month, which is just shy of 20%. That's insane. You know, those returns are
Mhm.
just monstrous.
Yeah.
And so it's very much so a case where we're planning on doing this kind of buildup here. Um, as for the token side, the bot is still going to run the exact same. So it'll be a case where, obviously smaller funds. So it's going to, have lower dollar amount returns, but the percentage would effectively be the same. Yanni is saying 20% of 500K is 100K. That'd be 40% is what's reinvested, 50% is what's paid out. So I don't know where you got the 20% there from, sir. But yeah.
I've been doing math on my own, so I totally have not heard anything in the
No, it's
past
okay.
couple of minutes.
I am going to answer some questions because we're going to move away from math, even though I know some people find it interesting. We can easily get lost in it. Can you translate that into payout per NFT starting in year 2? Sorry, not very math-minded. Well, we just did that. So worked out perfectly there, Lee.
The quick math that I did was
500 per NFT is what we're looking at here.
Yeah, that's about roughly, because at the end of this year, if you do you do a month of 20%, it translates to okay. I guess you were trying to figure out what 20% of a $500,000.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about it as well too, is that if we do have a couple of those months where it's just absolutely monstrous returns, even if some of the other months we're doing 7%, because again, I'm just basing it off like, hey, this is going to be the flat amount that it's going to return. But if we have a month where it does like 20% on, 300, 400,000, I mean, we're talking quite a bit of money in just like 1 month swinging for the fences there. And, over the last few months, we've done 19.5%, 19.5%, if you want to break it down, then about 30% for the month of January. And then roughly about another, just about another 20% on top of that as well. So it's like, I mean, we're at 89% from where we started. So easiest course of action to kind of like math this out would be take 83,000 and over about a 7-month period, it's done 89% is, because again, it's going to effectively be using the same bot. So if we get lucky and have the same things kind of happen, it's just going to get even better. And like I said, we just cracked the $100,000 threshold. So if we do have like March, let's say March is a 20% month for us, that's $20,000 just right there, which is crazy to even think. And then if the next month, we do 10%, right? Like let's say we do 20% March, 10% in April. Well, that 20% is being compounded. So it's 10% on $120,000, not 10% on $100,000. So that's $12,000 instead of $10,000. So it's just, it really kind of racks up as time goes on. It's huge. And
and honestly, like, it's crazy that nobody thought of doing this before, but I guess in crypto, nobody thinks anything can go for any length of time. But like Yanni was saying, we're the first ones that had the balls to do it, I guess.
Sorry, I want to read through some of these other questions as well. Oliver, I apologize.
No worries.
But yeah, no, I mean, you're 100% correct. I mean, it's a huge ask to ask people to wait for that period of time in crypto, but we really think that it's going to be a redefining moment for us. And we think that it's going to be life-changing money for a lot of holders of the NFTs as well, too. And even beyond that, also, the 5% that are coming back as well, that is going to the projects. Like the team are not taking that and putting it into our pocket. That's part of the reason why we had NFTs as part of our allocation that we were, given at the beginning of this, is that like we're literally sitting here and waiting the same as you guys are for these NFTs to, to pay out to us, as we didn't feel it was right for us to take anything at the beginning.
I don't see why other projects do that, like that sell NFTs. Like they just take right off the top, put it in their pockets. I don't see why the hell they do that. Like,
well, normally there's no function for those NFTs, so it's like there's no real need other than it's a JPEG on a screen. And I know NFT holders are probably going to yell at me for that, or NFT people are probably going to be like, he just doesn't understand NFTs, and it's like, Sure. I think they can be used in a different way, and that's what we did here.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, that was kind of like the big thing for us is that we wanted a lot of this to come back to the projects, and that is the other big thing as well is that we have a lot of NFTs that are in like our project treasuries also. And what I mean by that is
Hmm.
um, all of those NFTs that are associated to the project treasuries that aren't going to be allocated to the team, that is going to remain in there as like a permanent source of revenue and returns for the projects, which means that 1, 2, 3 token, they're going to see some pretty massive buybacks coming in at around that 2 year mark. Same thing on
Hmm.
the Prisma side. We're going to have a lot of um, extra large payouts, I guess, is going to be like the first time of the year when people are really going to see some extra little things coming through there. It'll help us kind of expand in our ecosystem, pay for things, and, do additional marketing, all of that across the board that the teams may want to do. All of it across the
Yep.
board is going to be huge for us there. And that's why the team, again, just to reiterate, we didn't want to take anything up front. We felt it would be one, detrimental. Two, we felt
Mhm.
like holders would feel like we're just putting money in our pockets, even if it was going to go to projects. It was a situation where it just felt like if we're going to ask you guys to do something, we need to be in that same boat with you. Um, so
Yeah.
again, that's just kind of like the decision making behind it and why we went that route. But just
What
to oh, sorry, go
what
ahead, Oliver.
well, what people are seeing are just people who, between like our two teams, they're seeing people who actually believe in the product that they've created. Like
Exactly.
we're not putting out something we don't believe in, so we want to take part in it just like you guys. That's why me,
Exactly.
Lucky, and Yanni hold 1, 2, and 3 token. That's why we hold these NFTs as well. And like Moongod was saying, we didn't take payouts at the beginning. We're going to get payouts whenever you guys get them, our treasuries. I mean, but
Well,
and
us and the
we
treasuries,
yeah,
because
we do hold NFTs as well. Yeah.
yeah, and that's just the to be transparent, it's all in the white paper as well too. We've not hid anything in that aspect. If it's not in the white paper, you guys can yell at me. I'm 100% okay with that, and I will get it in the white paper ASAP. But it's a case for us where we didn't want to take anything up front because if something were to happen, we wanted to make sure that we are all in this with you guys as well too. Heaven forbid something were to happen, but that was our mentality behind it is we didn't want to get paid if there was some crazy circumstance where our holders didn't get paid.
Mhm.
And that was the mentality behind it. So we're all in this with you, same period of time. But just to kind of, keep answering questions because I do see there's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
that
I was
popped up.
seeing the questions are coming. So
TJ David said we'll also grow the Ray exponentially due to token tax when trading is live. So not only do we compound via the bot, we add our trading capital with every trade of the Prisma token. That is 100% correct. Early on, we're going to have that set to 4% going to Ray on the buy side and 4% on the sell side going to Ray as well. So yeah, that's going to grow pretty big early on here as people are kind of like buying tokens and even selling tokens as well. Because again, we want
mhm.
you guys to take profits. So I have no problem with anybody buying or selling. In fact, I absolutely recommend people, taking profits as quickly as they can. Um, get your, as I always like to call it, get the baseline out, and then just play with house money, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
Same thing
yeah.
in poker. As soon as you make back your initial, put it in your pocket and play with whatever's left. So, um, Legends R Us said, I don't hold an NFT, but what's a Prisma token bag size to be similar with an NFT payout? It's going to be totally different. I will say the NFTs are always going to pay more. And part of the reason for that is there's a much larger amount that is going to be compounding much, much faster. And that's really the only reason why. The Prisma side of things is going to be able to grow with the crypto ecosystem a lot better than I would say the NFT side will. But that's part of the reason why on the NFT side, we're going to swap to a stage 3. And eventually, with the Prisma token, we will swap to a stage 2, which will be very similar, where we're going to reduce the amount that's going to go into like the liquidity pool, reduce the amount that's going to go into the reinvestment side of it, and increase the payout side going to Prisma token holders. The other main difference as well is Prisma tokens are going to pay out every single month and allow you to be paid out the way that you want. So if you want to dollar cost average 1 token or 2 token, 3 token, or Bitcoin or Ethereum or BNB or whatever else it may end up being, you can absolutely do that instead. So it really allows for a lot more flexibility and that dollar cost average potential on top of it. Again, with that all being said, the payouts are going to be smaller since they're being done on a more regular basis and not compounding for nearly as long. But it still is going to be a situation where funds are going to come back in. And again, as I brought up before, part of the reason why we have the NFT side where a certain percentage is going to the team in terms of like the project, and a certain number of NFTs are also being held by the project's treasury, that will go back into either payouts or reinvestments into Ray, the liquidity pool, stuff like that, to always have that increasing and growing as time goes on. And that was the entire idea behind the ecosystem, is that, you know, everything is going to funnel into these different things and allow them to grow. And that's the reason why we're building the vault system as well too, so we can allow for projects very similar to 1, 2, and 3 token to have a capacity for people to be able to get into another project, have stuff that pays out, and then dollar cost average the token of their choice. And that was the entire idea behind our partnership to start off, is, you know, we're going to provide a need, you know, to create this revenue generation source. And then we're going to, you know, be able to partner with tokens that have a very, very limited supply, such as 1, 2, and 3 token, and allow us to be that kind of like extra kick of growth that it would need in terms of just like free buybacks or money coming in that can be used for buybacks or marketing or whatever else they may want to do. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
perfect hand in hand. Absolutely excited for it.
Yep. Yep. We're thrilled.
Yeah. Lee Hurst said, say ETH hits all-time high, like Oliver said, at one time, like 27K. I don't remember ETH ever hitting 27K. Maybe I'm insane.
I think I may have said that in a video or something.
Yeah, I thought it was
I,
much closer to like 12K or something, or like 8K.
I
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember
I don't remember
27.
everything I say in my videos, but
I just
it's when
throwing out
it
numbers.
went to proof of stake, and I was hearing some pretty bullish projections. But
Yeah.
Yanni is saying it will never be 27,000.
I mean, it very well could hit 27,000 like 20 years down the road. Who knows? But yeah, if it were to hit something like that, you know, I think that'd be insane. I think that'd be wild. Be a ton of fun. The market would just go absolutely bonkers. Yeah, so 4,578 is the all-time high. Yeah, I was totally wrong with like 12.8K, you know, so not even close at all. But yeah, no, that would be insane. I would love that. Because I know part of what we're looking to do on the Prisma side for like tokens as well is we're looking at dollar cost average and then liquid stake those tokens, so that way they can grow as time goes on as well. So just a lot of added benefits across the board that we're hoping to kind of bring, options that we're bringing to the table, reward and revenue generation that is going to be extremely diverse and be very, very resilient. So yeah, a lot of added benefits there. Legends are us for token holders. When is the first payout? I'm assuming he's talking about the Prisma V2. That will be the first full month after launch. So, like, let's assume we launch April 20th. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a date there. So the first full month would be May. That would basically be the first month that's paid out. So we'd have whatever the remainder of, like, say, April is. Then we'd have the full month of May. So the first payout would be like June. It kind of depends on start date, and that's really dependent on code review, a lot of other stuff that we've got to do, vault, you know, coding, vault review. So it's not going to be like next week or anything. But yeah, Good question, Legends Are Us, said Chris Bridges. I agree. That's a great question as well. And we'll definitely give those details again as we move to launch. So that's not going to be anything anyone will ever need to be surprised about. We'll give plenty of notice for like when we're going to take our snapshot and when we're going to do our payouts. I mean, there's not going to be anything like surprise. We did our snapshot. Nobody knew. Surprise. We're doing our payouts. Nobody knew. Like you guys will know ahead of time. So yeah, that's just kind of like the baseline way that that'll work. And we'll kind of adjust as need be and see what kind of works in those situations as well. Dave C, they need to launch V2 first. Yep, that is in the pipeline. We are working on that right now, getting the code revised. So yes, it's being worked on. Legends Are Us, I think if I had 500,000 tokens, will be similar to an NFT. Yeah, because with 500,000 tokens, I think you would have like 5% of the tokens.
5%, yeah.
Yeah. So very much so, it could be like an NFT. But yeah, if you think you can get up to that amount, absolutely, I say go for it. Go ham. I think we'll get to a point where if you manage to hold, and this is, I know this is going to sound crazy, we'll get to a point eventually where if you had 500,000 tokens, you would probably be able to just at some point in time just sell all those tokens and walk away and never have to worry about anything for the rest of your life. Like you wouldn't even need the monthly payouts. Like that is, the confidence that I have with everything that we're looking to have done within the next few years here. I don't think, we'll get to the point where like 500,000 tokens will be worth like $10 million, $10 million like next week. But I definitely think it's a possibility within like, say, the next 5 to 10 years. We could see a few people that get in very, very early on be able to just walk away and never have to worry about anything for the rest of their life at some period of time as well. It's crazy to think that. It's crazy to say that, but I think it'll be fun. The next 5 to 10 years is going to hold a lot, and people are going to be very excited with what we're able to do and the other things that we're able to do as well. So, absolutely. Yes, it never got to there, but it can. 27,000 ETH would put market cap at like 3.2 trillion. Yeah, I mean 3.2 trillion. That's like, the third largest GDP in the entire world or something like that, I think. Or the second one. I don't know. I think that'll beat out China. I believe it's United States, China in the GDP. And US GDP, I believe, is like 4.6 trillion. I think China's right around there as well. So it'll be really close. Which is crazy.
Now they're trying to figure out how much it'll cost for 500,000 tokens.
500,000 tokens.
What will the launch price be of V2? Do you know?
Probably the same price that we had before.
Was it like 4 cents or something?
No, it was like half a penny.
Half a penny? Oh.
Yeah.
0.05.
Yeah. I mean, it really was a situation where there's a lot of opportunity to maybe grab that early on. Now,
if you can be the first buyer.
Yeah. If you manage to get in there and snag 500,000 tokens, I mean, it'll probably cost you a pretty penny, is what I'll say. Like, there's not going to be like no surprise about it at all. But it would be an instance where it's very likely that if you were to do 500,000 at half a penny, give me 1 second. I'm curious about that now. My brain is
it'd be $2,500, but the price would go up if you bought that much. So you'd probably pay like 4,000 or something for that.
Yeah, it'd be like 4 or 5K is probably what you need to put in order to get roughly about 500,000 tokens on launch. So it'd be wild.
You would double the market cap.
I mean, I'd love it. I absolutely would love it. I'd be like, yes, let's go, boys. But it'd be crazy to think that we'd have a couple of people that would go out and do that. I would love that. I mean, that I would be like jumping up and down in my chair. Little things in life that excite me. Some people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to drop like 30,000 on a project. And I'm like, dude, I'm happy if we get 5K. Like that, I'm fine with
Dude,
that.
yeah,
Um,
every little
and
bit
again,
helps.
that's part of the idea behind the way that we built, the Prisma ecosystem as a whole. And I know it sounds crazy for me to kind of say this, but this ecosystem was built to actually not even require buys or sells. It's 100% set up to be able to fully function without buys or sells coming in. Does that mean that, nobody should buy into the project, nobody should sell out of the project? Absolutely not. I'd love to have people come in, come out, and what's best for them. But that's part of the reason why we designed it like this is we wanted to make sure that there's not going to be somebody that's left holding the bag. And that was really a hugely important thing for us when we were building this out, is that we
Mhm.
wanted to do everything that we could categorically top down to make sure that even if somebody gets in 3 years later down the road and pays $5 per token or whatever it is, or $10 per token or something like that, it'd be a case where they're still able to get the full advantages as somebody who bought in during the pink sale. So
Mhm.
absolutely, it's definitely something we're really excited about on our side. And we've built the project to be able to run on like anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month in terms of volume. And I know if memory serves, like even the one token is doing way more than that in volume per month, like way more than that if memory serves. So
Yeah, I don't look at it very often, but yeah, I don't know.
I look at it just so I can tease a little bit. But if memory serves, I mean I think you guys are doing anywhere from like 500 to $1,000 roughly a day, something like that. Um,
Let me look. I don't
maybe
even
I'm
know.
wrong. Look it
Not
up, Oliver.
even.
I'll
Yeah.
answer another question. What is the launch price of V2 going to be? Just trying to figure out how much tokens are. Yep. So we answered that. Should be probably about half a penny, maybe a little bit less. I think it's going to be like 0.004547, right around there. Correct. TJ David, last trading price was around 50,000 market cap. Legends Are Us, they need to create an NFT, the 500 Club. Maybe we'll see. Lee Her ETH at 8K Entertainment, me please. Yes, I'm all for it. Let's do it. TJ David, so 500K is like 2K. However, the price is going to go up fast if we are all arms racing to make the first buy. That's very accurate. That's why we were kind of saying 500K will probably be closer to like 4 to 5K. So no pink sale this go around. I will say we're exploring a couple of options and things that we're looking at on this side over here. There's a lot of math involved, but it's very much so a case where when we fully make the decision which direction we're going to go with it, we will let everybody know. And again, it'll be more than enough time. Like it's not going to be, hey, we let you know on Tuesday, and then Tuesday 6 hours later is when whatever happens happens. So you guys will have plenty of awareness going into it. But yes, we are looking at a couple of options on like pink sale and stuff like that to see what we might be able to do there. But we are not going to throw V2 holders or V1 holders under the bus in favor of V2 holders. That will not happen. So whatever happens on pink sale, we'll have that in mind. Did you come back with a number, Oliver?
I mean, we're doing like a couple $100 a day in volume lately.
Still
A
not
little
bad
low.
at all. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's one of those things where it's like, again, we're still, trickling back in the, retail crypto into this, in prep for the bull run. So it's like, I think that's only going to get better as time goes on. But even
Yeah.
still, with that being the case, like let's say you're doing $200 a day, that's still awesome. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that on the Prisma side, we've built our system to be able to run, even with that stuff going on. And again, with the revenue generation sources and the reward generation sources that we have, it's very much so going to be a case where all that is going to tie back in. And
Yeah.
I still think one token, two token, and three token are drastically undervalued. Like I think one token should probably be closer to about $2. That's just a personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that would only put us at a 1 million market cap. So
well, even
yeah.
with that being the case, I think it's a situation where like once we have that first NFT payout hit, I mean,
Yeah.
if you guys just went and took that entire payout and just burned all of the one tokens with it, assuming it's at the same price that it's at right now, like, let's
Yeah.
assume nothing changes, just to be
Mm.
pessimistic here. I think that that would burn probably about 200,000 tokens.
Ye-
Probably.
Oof. I mean, if it does, yeah, if the price doesn't go up in the bull run, then
Yeah.
well, then again, it will go back down in the bear most likely. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it's
Like I
hard
said,
to say, but
I
yeah,
think one
we're
token's undervalued right now. That's all I'll
since
say about that.
since we do have the equivalent of like 53 NFTs, I think, because if you add the 5% profit share plus the NFTs our treasury holds,
Yeah.
it's over 50. And if you think that the first payout will be, conservatively $500, but well, let's be a little optimistic and say it'll maybe be 1,000 or more. Um, then it's going to be a lot of money we can pump in there, and that's going to be yearly. That we're going to get an infusion of cash like that, and it's only
Yeah.
going to get bigger and bigger. Like the payouts are going to get much bigger. So this is why at one token, like Lucky and Yanni have been teaching me, and we're as a team trying to teach anybody in the community who doesn't know this yet. But in crypto, there are a lot of people who are not really long-term thinkers. We're trying to teach people long-term thinking here, but like not even long-term, just long-term in crypto, which is think just a few years down the road where we're gonna be with the things we're working on, and it boggles the mind. But
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna have a lot of money to pump into these tokens, and we did the math. Um, we did the math, like if we had 100,000 to pump into the tokens, I think if we did like half of that in one token, um I think it would get the price of one token up to like just like $50,000 of just straight buy pressure. um I think it'd get the price of one token to like $4 or $5 or something.
Yep.
And then if we did the same in three token, it'd get it up to like $40 because three token only has like 100,000 tokens in circulation. So
Yeah.
if we put $50,000 into three token, it'd get the price up to like $40 or something. It would be insane.
Yeah. And again, one thing I don't know how much people in the ecosystem know this as well too, but the one team project also owns 200,000 Prisma tokens as well from
Mhm.
V1. So it's a situation where they're not only are they going to get the revenue from the NFT side of it as well, they're also going to be getting payouts as well for the Prisma tokens that they hold. So it's definitely going to be a
Yeah,
situation where it's like not only is it going to be an annual huge bump for them, and bump for 1, 2, and 3 token as a whole, it's also
yeah,
going to be a huge monthly bump
yeah.
as well. Uh,
And on top of that 2%, Lucky himself, I think, has 3% personally, and he said he's going to stake those tokens in the 1, 2, and 3 vaults. So
yeah.
it's going to be like 5% coming to our, just from the team and the treasury.
And so
Um,
that buy pressure of the vaults doing that auto reinvestment, and then the cool part about that as well too is the team could either do um, like giveaways, or they could just burn those tokens outright, and that's going to be a huge increase in just permanent price,
yeah,
as
yeah,
time kind of goes on. And so it's
yeah,
very much
yep,
so a case where as this really starts to ramp up, and that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to bring up as we're moving into this bull run, as we're looking towards the V2 relaunch, everything that the one team has helped us out with, all the different processes, all that across the board. I really personally believe that this is probably going to be the last time that we're going to see one token at about this range. I think we're going to get to the point that come a year's time, one token will probably be over $1 and won't go back under it.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
that's just my
That's right.
personal opinion. Again, I could very well be wrong. I've been wrong
That's
with things before,
right.
but it just seems like as these kind of things get built out, as we continue to build upon them as well too, that I think come the beginning of next year, we're going to see some absolutely massive increases. And it's not too far off from seeing those same increases, coming in huge waves, not only monthly, but at the beginning of each year as those payouts start to happen and continue to happen. So, Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah, I can tell you that Lucky and Yanni are teaching me to just think a little long term, and I can tell you whenever I can, I'm buying one token, and two and three. I mean, I'm swapping to two every now and then, but I'm buying one and three token a lot. And I've got a wallet opened up for my son and my daughter, so I can, now is accumulation time because the price is super cheap. But yeah, it's not going to stay that price much longer because the bull run alone might do some insane things, but then the money we're going to be pumping in over the coming years. Let's get back to the questions though, because as much as I
Sorry.
love talking
No,
about it,
actually they've been kind of communicating between themselves, which is kind of fun.
yeah, very cool.
And down here all the way at the bottom, we've got Moonwolf that asks, I think Moongod said that V1 holders going to get 1-to-1 against V2. Is that correct? Yes, that is basically the way that that's going to work to a certain extent, I will say. Um, because I believe we are going to do things percentage based. And I know you may look at me or may be like, well, what exactly does that mean, Matt? Um, we can't exactly do a 1-to-1 necessarily like with a dollar amount. So if we were going to do anything, it's going to be a 1-to-1 token amount. Um, or a percentage base. So, like if you had 3% of the tokens, you're going to get 3% of V2. It just kind of depends on how the math pans out. Because there's some weird stuff with a couple of people that never got to claim with like Pink Sale and the way that that works in terms of like translating it from like those that bought in Pink Sale versus those that bought in at the beginning. So there's some stuff we're kind of looking into there. But yes, at a bare minimum, it's going to be at least 1-to-1 or very darn close to it. Like we're talking what would be considered like a rounding error. Like we're not talking, oh, you're going to see like, you got 10,000 tokens, you're going to see a 2,000 token difference. We're saying it might be like, oh, you got 10,000 tokens when you claimed it. In V2, you got 10,001 or you got 9,999. It just kind of it'll be very, very close, but it's going to kind of depend on how that balances out. And we're kind of looking into the math. But
If you are short one token or you got one token too many, by all means open a ticket, and Moon God will personally.
we'll figure it out. But yes, it should be like extremely close to 1-to-1. We're looking at a couple of different options in terms of like payout and setup and how that's going to kind of work. And again, that ties back into the question with like, how's the pink sale going to work? If we, decide to go that route. So it's like there's a couple of things that we're looking into. But again, for nothing else, it's going to be something where it'll be a case where like at worst you may see like a few token difference. And it could be positive, could be negative, but that's if anything crazy happens. But it's not going to be something where it's going to be like, hey, you got 10,000 tokens. Hey, we're airdropping 8,000 to you. 2,000 is just lost in the wash here. It will
Yeah,
not be anything like
yeah.
that.
This is Prisma. This isn't Switch, guys.
Yeah.
All right, just had to throw that in there.
Or, not Seifu.
Even
So
worse.
I know, just gut wrenching and heartbreaking that project. All right, moving on. TJ David said one token chart looks so strong too, almost a 3x since September. Yeah.
Thank you,
Again,
bro.
back then I
Thank
also
you.
said it
Thank
was
you.
super undervalued, and I still think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Vitru Warrior said, "What do you think NFT will pay out in 10 years per NFT?" Considering the fact that I think probably by about year 5 we'll be in stage 3, which means about 90% on 15 million earnings for that, assuming about 7% each month. Give me 1 second because I'll just do the math on it really quick for funsies.
Yeah, I know, right?
Um, one
So
five.
15 million, talking 7% monthly.
Yep.
How many zero? I got to count the zeros. 1, 2, 3.
It be about, assuming 7% a month, it'd be about 34 million, 34.7 million. So the total amount of earnings would be 19.7 million, just a little bit over that. So 19.7 or 19.7, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. divided by 500. You guys are making me do math on the fly here. I don't like it. Be about 40,000 per NFT, give or take, just a little bit.
And that's making 7% a month. If it makes more than 7% a month, which is possible, like let's say it makes an average of 9.7%, because that's kind of what you're going for, between 7 and 12%. Then
Well, so that's the thing, is that the entire market of crypto would have to be pretty massive for us to do that every single month. So part of what we are considering, because we're crazy people, is that we would look at what it would take for us to get to, say, 100 million, and then be trading a much lower return structure. So what I mean in that aspect is, instead of shooting for like 7% a month at 15 million, at 100 million, we could shoot for like 2% a month. And that would net us the exact same amount month in and month out. And we'd be able to pay out the exact same thing, and we wouldn't hit the market like at all. So yeah, definitely something we could do. And we've kind of discussed that internally, but that would be something we'd have to leave up to NFT holders and what they'd want to do, because effectively that might tack on like 2 to 3 years of compounding, depending on how things go.
of stage 2, yeah.
Yeah. So that might tack on an extra 2 to 3 years of stage 2. So it really kind of is dependent on what NFT holders want to do, and we'll ask them when we get to that point. But yeah,
TJ makes a good point. Yanni makes a good point on top of that, because TJ is saying, like, won't 100 million move the markets by the time we get there? And Yanni's saying the markets will be growing along with us. So by the time we have 100 million to trade, it's not going to do much to the markets at all, because they're going to be so freaking massive by then.
Yeah, at that point in time, 100 million may equal out to what $1 million right now. Like, somebody could trade $1 million on the market, and the market's not even going to bat an eye. It'd be
exactly.
like, not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, what's Bitcoin's market cap going to be in 5-6 years or 10 years? It's going to be in the tens of trillions.
Yes,
likely.
Yes.
So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's very much so a case where we've considered the other option as well too. Like I said, where if we got up to the point where we had $100 million in funds, the safest course for us would be to basically just say, hey, we're going to pay out 90% at that point, and then shoot for like 2% each month. And that would be roughly anywhere from like $40,000 to $50,000 per NFT.
yeah.
So that's kind of like one of the thoughts behind it as well too. But there have been some other crazy things that we thought of, where if we do, the 100 million, or if we don't cut it off and do stage 3 at like 15 million, and we just let it continue to grow, as long as the market is growing, we can do that as well too. And it could be a case where we get up to like $300 million, and it's doing, I don't know, like 100 million a year or something like that, and in returns that we get to pay out to people, which would be like over $100,000 per holder or something. So a lot of that has been just kind of like pitched around as like what ifs and such. But when we kind of get closer to those stages, we'll ask everybody. NFT holders will be able to make a decision, provided those given options. And we want to make sure that, those that are going to receive the payouts are obviously going to be the forefront there. But there's nothing that really stops us from, saying, hey, we're going to be stage 2 for another 3 to 5 years here or something like that. We're going to get up to $100 million, and then we're going to swap to stage 3, and we're going to shoot for 2 to 3% a month, maybe 5% at the most or something like that. And it'd be a case where we could see like anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 in payouts every single year. So yeah, definitely something that we've kind of looked at for like the 5 to 10 year range. So hopefully that answers the question there, Vitru Warrior. Legends R Us says, in 10 years, Prisma is a blue chip. I'd love for that to be the case. hopefully I won't have the SEC coming after me, and I could just live on a farm somewhere and just do stuff like that. Soon I will refill my one token bag. I think that's a great idea. Again, as I said,
Awesome.
I think
Awesome,
one
man.
token is undervalued.
Yeah. Look
Um,
forward to having you back, brother.
Absolutely. Moonwolf, if the tokenomics are similar between V1 and V2, there shouldn't be any drastic variations, in my opinion. Yeah, you're 100% correct. The only variations, like I said, that we might see is like weird stuff depending on like how ping sale works out. We're also throwing around some ideas about like doing a possible like payout or something as well. So it's just like weird little stuff that's in there that we're, talking about team side. Um, so yeah, it like I said, if there's anything, we'll let you know. But it really should be basically a 1-for-1 transition to V2, unless we, you know, have something that changes. And even then, if we do have something that changes, it'd be like a nominal difference. Where like maybe somebody sees like a 0.00001% difference in their token value. You know, enough where it's not going to even really bother anybody. Um, do we think that there's a time where our trading funds will have to stop growing? I mean, trading with like 100 million actually moving the market. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about that, and we kind of. I'm finally reading that question now, but we answered that already.
So yeah, TJ, I don't know if you know about stage 2 and stage 3, but stage 3 is when we'll stop reinvesting. And Moon God was saying that if people want, stage 2 can continue another year or two, if people want. And stage 2 is where 40% is reinvested
Yeah,
of the profits. So if you want, if people really are, if we hear it, because we listen to people in the Discord, if we're really hearing a lot of people saying they want it to compound for another year or two or reinvest for another year or two, then we'll listen to you guys. But stage 3, once we get there, that's when there won't be any more reinvesting. 100% of the profits will be paid out.
yep.
So
Yeah, and again, the positive with that as well too is that in theory we can adjust stage 2, stage 3 whenever we want. So that's not like unlike a token where you have to code it into a contract. We're effectively going to be able to code a contract to just do airdrop payouts. And the way that that'll work is we'll just put the returns into that contract, and then it'll just do the math for it, and it'll just do whatever it's got to do without anything crazy happening. So
yep.
it'll all be handled by like contract and everything like that. And so we'll have like effectively one contract for stage 2 and one contract for stage 3. So like if there's a point in time where the NFT holders vote to move back to stage 2, like let's say we're in stage 3 for a little bit, and then the market cap of everything moves up where Bitcoin is like a $50 trillion asset and Ethereum's now like a $15 trillion asset. And it's like, okay, well, living on $50,000 a year is not enough anymore. We can be like, awesome. So let's just move back to stage 2 and start the process again. And yeah, there's nothing that prevents us from doing that. So it's very flexible. And that's one of the positives about the setup that we have is that we don't really have to kind of like force anything or pigeonhole anything to try and, make it work. We can be a lot more flexible with it. Yanni says market's growing while we grow. Exactly. It's 100%. So 20K in NFT in about 5 to 6 years. Think it'll probably be around there. Closer to year 4, 5 than 5, 6. Just with the way that compounding works. So yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, compounding really escalates as time kind of grows on. The longest it should take is about 5 to 6 years, but we're hoping worst case scenario to be in stage 3 by 5, 6 years. Again, that's being a little zealous, I would say, but that's kind of the goal is about year 5, 6 is, the longest it'll hopefully take us to get to stage 3, which
Yep.
means that we'd be already doing like $20,000 payouts before then at that point in time. So yeah. TJ David says true. I think that was just in response to Yanni. Legends of Us, is there a marketing plan in the near future? We are working on that on the Prisma V2 side. I don't know about the one token side of things. Oliver, can you answer anything there?
Well, I mean, other than our competitions, we kind of we kind of do marketing as things come up. If we do anything new, Greek is always very kind and does an AMA with me, and you know, I we don't have anything planned, is I guess what I'm saying. But if something big comes up and we feel like doing a marketing push, we can. We know the 100X guys are always there for us. And James Pelton, I still want to talk to him one day. Do an AMA with him. Um, I think his reputation isn't where it used to be, but he's still pretty well known. So, and he's a good dude. He's a good dude. I like him. So that's
Yeah,
that's
and I think there's other things that we're looking to kind of even expand upon and do as well, which will eventually bring some additional marketing because as our project ecosystem continues to grow, I know one of the things that we've been kind of talking about, and Oliver can yell at me if I'm releasing information way too soon. It's about the 4 token. Joking. Basically, we've also kind of been talking about setting up basically like a partnership system. That way we can kind of bring in other projects that are very like-minded to us, are doing things similar to kind of what we're doing, things that we can kind of trust within, the crypto space and really kind of vet things out, provide assistance to each other without, you know, having to worry about like that cutthroat mentality where it's like us versus them.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and that's one of the biggest things that we've had happen is like we've reached out to a lot of other projects, and because we're doing stuff that were similar to some of them, they were like, yeah, we oh, we're it's interesting that you guys are doing this stuff, we hope you do so well. But it's really, you get the feeling that they're just kind of like, yeah, we hope that everything that you've worked on crashes and burns and it all falls apart around you.
Yeah.
um and with the one team, that's never been the case. And that's one of the things that I'd love to kind of like bring more to the forefront of crypto. Um, is that I don't want people to look at projects and be like, I'm in this project, I must hate every other project that exists. And we kind of just
Yeah.
started talking about that, between the Prisma team and the one team, and just kind of, the direction that we want to head is like, we want to kind of set up this stuff and be like this beacon for the next generation. And with everything that we're looking to do, we believe that that's definitely a possibility going forward. And so it's not
Mhm.
for us just like, hey, what can we do just for our projects? Is it's very much so one of the reasons why we're very meticulous about the things that we do on our side, is that we know, the things that we do now are going to be scrutinized years down the road. And it's very much so a case where we're trying to build this stuff out early on, allow us to kind of do these things later on. And the big picture for us is that we want to kind of like, revise the way that the crypto space is kind of looked at as this, cutthroat mentality. And
Yep.
we prefer to just, set up some stuff to allow us to have partnerships, to allow us to be able to work with other projects, to allow our communities and other projects, communities to kind of come together to grow and to see a lot more benefits. And again, we've already seen that with just a very simple partnership between the Prisma team and the one team. And it's like,
Mhm.
this is what happens when two projects can come together and do amazing things without really having to kind of, be at each other's throats or anything like that. And I think it's a
Yeah.
huge change, and it's a refreshing change, at least in my opinion, from what we generally see. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
absolutely
It's a
excited
good
for
point.
everything that we're building.
Yep. We are too, for sure. Legends R Us is just saying some cool stuff. He's like saying, Prisma V2 will jump fast over $1 and stay there. This is not a swing trade and get out kind of token. You want to hold it and get payouts. Absolutely. And the bigger percent you hold, better for you, better for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
you want to
let's
read
see.
Sky
Avoid
Dreams?
pink sale. Sky Dream says avoid pink sale. I believe they have fees. We could simply have a deposit in our DApp maybe and receive a certain amount of tokens. Fair launch is a rat race. Yeah. I mean, again, it's all stuff that we're going over, internally, and we're kind of trying to make some decisions based on that as well too. Uh, Part of the idea behind maybe using pink sale is it does just kind of get the name out there a little bit further. outside it. So technically it could be used kind of as like a marketing source. But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely something that we're reviewing all of those options. It's in saying some of the things that I have today, that doesn't mean that's guaranteed the direction we're 100% going to go without there ever being any consideration for change. And it's definitely a case where we're taking suggestions not only from our community, but from the one team as well. We've already asked them, their feedback on a couple of different things, and their opinions on a couple of different things that we've kind of put out, as like a, hey, you guys have experienced things, very, very similar to what we have in a whole relaunch process. You
Mhm.
know, we're looking at like this, and this. What do you guys think about each of these? And so,
We've done it all. We've done
yeah.
it all. We've
So
done we've done stealth launch, a whitelist launch, and a pink sale launch. So yeah, we've
yeah,
pretty
so
much
for
done it
us,
all.
it's very much so a case where, again, that's where, as I was bringing up earlier, that partnership really kind of comes to fruition. Is that, you know, even though Prisma has been around for almost a year at this point in time, you know, um, people have been aware of us for about a year at this point, and our project. It's still a case where like there's a lot that we just don't know, and we rely a lot on other teams' knowledge, other people's knowledge as well. And we're constantly growing because of that. And again, that's part of why we want to eventually set up that partnership system, where we can work with other new projects that come out, kind of help curate that new space. Is because I'll be honest with you, if we did not have the one team, Prisma probably wouldn't have existed after the exploit. And that's
Mhm.
just the honest to God truth. Is like, our team was, very distraught with what happened. And there was very much so heavy consideration that we were just going to do, a refund of whatever was left and just kind of, wrap it up and talk shop. And, Lucky Oliver and Yanni just came in with an absolute metric ton of brute force and basically, slapped us a couple of times and were like, get your shit together and get working on this.
It, it was definitely Lucky and Yanni. It was not me. I
Yeah.
wasn't even I wasn't even talking to you
Oliver
guys
was in the
very much at
background
that
like,
point. Yeah.
yeah, do it. But
Uh,
Lucky and Yanni were definitely there, kind of giving us that push and that, that reminder of everything that we could do. And it just, it's one of those things that like when you're at your lowest moment where everything's happening, and it seems like everything's going against you at that point in time. Not that our community hated us or anything like that, but it's just, it took a lot of the wind out of our sails. And they were there to be like, hey, don't worry. We've got some oars and a motor here for you. We're going to get you going again.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely a case where, we're exploring all options. We're working with, the one team to kind of go over those options as well too, and just kind of refine some stuff. And yeah, I mean, while we can't really talk about it right now, we are going over quite a few different things, doing a lot of math. I've got more spreadsheets created than I'd probably done in the last 6 months. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting in the next few months here. So
Yep,
yep.
I think so too.
All right,
Man, this
we've
is the
been going for forever and
longest
6
live
years.
stream ever.
I have got to head out and make some
Yeah.
dinner for the wife who just got home from work. Um,
Well,
Sorry
thanks,
for
man.
talking nonstop. It's
No,
just
it's great.
exciting to
Thank
be
you.
back, exciting to have the bot trading the way that it's supposed to be doing, and we're not having to
Hell yeah.
stare at a chart for 12 hours out of the day. Because
Hell
God knows
yeah.
I felt like my eyes were bleeding after looking at an Ethereum chart for 12 hours a day. Um, but yeah,
Uh,
we're super happy to be back and kind of, business as usual. Again, just to kind of go over anything that somebody may have missed early on. The bot did about 5.3% over the last 9 days. We're looking at about a 20% return on the month. So everything's looking absolutely fantastic there. We just cracked over $100,000 in the NFT bot.
hell yeah.
That's doing phenomenal. We're just about to crack 26,000 in the Ray bot. So it's all looking up. One token's undervalued. Go buy one token.
I mean, or just let me keep accumulating more and then buy. So
That works too as well,
you
But
up to you. But
Yeah,
I won't tell you what
that's
to
gonna be
do.
my last thing. Buy one token.
All right. Well, thank you, man. I'm glad you're feeling better too. I can tell by your voice you sound better.
Yeah,
So
a lot more chipper.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. We've held about 20 people this whole time, so that's awesome. Thank you, Chris, for being here, and Sky Dreams and Legends Are Us, and Yanni always here. Thank you, brothers, TJ, and everybody. Thank you, guys. It was a great live stream. Appreciate y'all. All righty. See ya.